So this is the next BCM Replacer video. It's just a demo of where we are at the moment. This is the system operating on the bench. It hasn't got any voltage taps plugged into the board, but you can see there's lots of information on the screen here. I'll try to explain what some of it is. Obviously you've got time ticking away. That's the time the system's been running. That's on the top line here. Got ignition flag on the second line down, IG1, tells you whether the ignition's on or off. Then we've got fan low flag and fan high flag, so the fan's not operating at the minute. Then we've got alarm flag and the alarm mute flag, so it's obviously got lots of alarms at the minute because there's no taps attached to it, so it's muted at the minute. And then we've got CE5, TS30. TS30 is the temperature spoofing level. CE5, I can't remember what that is off the top of my head. Then we've got assist flag and regen flag. If those are set, then either assist is disabled or regen is disabled. Then we've got the pack voltages, which you've seen. And we've got at the end of the fourth line down, tap dev C. That's a tap deviation counter. That counts the number of times that tap has deviated by more than the permitted value, which in this case I've set to 250 millivolts. And then you've got the various tap voltages, etc. there. And at the bottom of the screen we've got lots of pretty self-explanatory information, hopefully. I'll just explain this as a state of charge line. We've got 19.9% capacity in milliampere hours. That's the total capacity of the pack. So if yours was a 65 ampere hour pack, that would say 65,000 there instead of 6,500. And the remaining milliampere hours, that's the calculated remaining milliampere hours after watt hour, ampere hour counting, etc. And some various flags and things at the bottom there. Okay, so we'll just go to the next screen. This is the menus. You've seen menu A before, and nothing much has changed on there. Toggling the various pins on the pick so I can set or clear devices which are attached to the BCM Replacer. This is menu B, same sort of situation. I can just toggle on and off various things. Menu C, or again, all pretty standard things. You can set your maximum pack voltages here, minimum pack voltages, your maximum pack temperatures, when you want the fan to come on, when you want the fan to come on low, when you want the fan to come on high. Got some compensation things. These are added mainly for testing, so if I find it's under reading or over reading, I can add some compensation here. The state of charge, that's what you decide as your minimum, maximum sort of general limits. So I've set those to what the stock BCM uses. And then we've got the capacity. This is where you would set the actual initial capacity. And then we've got a running total of the milliampere hours, which is the next one, number 6 here. That's the current capacity, or what's left in the pack. Number of tap modules. Each module does 2 taps. So we've got 5 tap modules, which will do 10 taps. Whether you want it on temperature C or F mode. Menu E, deviation limit there, so I've got that set to, well, 100 is 1 volt, but I've got it set to 25, which is 250 millivolts. So if a tap deviates by 250 millivolts, it flags an issue and then counts the number of times that occurs. If it occurs more than 5 times consecutively, then it will flag an error. I get tap compensation here. We've got if the taps are under reading or over reading, I can add a bit of compensation. Inverse video, I can enable that. So when an alarm is flagged, the screen will invert to black text on white background, so that flashes, makes it obvious to you from the driver's position. And obviously you've got the big video text there you can use. I've got spoof battery temperature there, so I can set a fake temperature to make the system work better. Amps delay, that's just the number of milliseconds it waits between taking amp readings. Rounding up the amps, charge compensation, discharge compensation, again just compensation values to ensure accuracy. Let's have a look, next menu F. So you can enable or disable the DTC codes, which it will send out on the normal line, so we'd get the dreaded IMA light with IMA codes. Number of maximum consecutive errors, it's permitted before it flags an error. So for the instance, the voltage deviation is 5 maximum consecutive If the tap deviation is detected at 5 consecutive times, then it will flag an error. Positive recalibration, this is new stuff here. Positive recalibration volts. So this is the level that has to be maintained for a positive recalibration to occur. Then we've got positive recal amps, and this is the level that has to be maintained for a set amount of period at the set amount of voltage for recalibration to take place. And then we've got a time. So we've got 60 seconds. So basically the battery voltage has to be over 170 volts. The battery current has to be 5 amps or more. And the time, it has to maintain that continuously for 60 seconds. And if it does, then it will positively recalibrate to the level at the bottom there, which says positive recal level. And it will recal to 75% if that is maintained for a minute. And the opposite is also true. So the voltage is less than a certain amount of volts, and the current is greater than a certain amount of assist, and the time again is greater than a certain amount of time, or a tap goes negative, or a tap goes to 0, or it detects an imbalance, then it will recal to negative 20%, which is same as the standard. Let's have a look. Menu G, this is we've been using this to set flags in the data which is being sent out, just to see what impact that has on the MCM. This is how I found out the DTC codes, etc. So I'll just come out of that now, go back, and we have an error menu as well now. So if there's an error, you can bring this menu up and you can clear errors and you can clear DTCs. And if the video was inverted at this point, which it would be if there was an error flagged, I've turned off the inverted video at the minute. So at the moment this would be black text on a white screen. You could revert that back and clear the errors if you wanted to. You can see obviously it's counting up lots and lots of errors because there's no communications between the A board and the voltage tap modules because they don't exist, they're not connected to it. So yeah, I'm going to test this code in the car. So it's mainly to test the recalibration code really now, and then it's almost pretty much ready for my first guinea pigs. We've just got to make up 2 or 3 sets, and then we might send one out to a budding tester, but that's where we are at the moment. Let's go back to the main menu, and that's where we are.